So our next presenter is Sol Kairuz. Sol transitioned from an environmental manager to marine science and is driven by a commitment to environmental justice and equity. Her project in Mexico aligns with her dedication to community, conservation, and inclusion. And I think actually what stands out to me the most about Sol is her role in the cohort as a strong, supportive friend and colleague. She has really served as a stable, unwavering, grounding force within the cohort that just has not gone unnoticed. So I just want to thank Sol for her role this year within the cohort. The name of her presentation is Giants of Baja California's Coastal Lagoons, Linking Sustainable Tourism to Biodiversity and Conservation. Welcome, Sol.
Thank you, Samantha. This video you're watching was taken by me when I went down to Baja California Sur to research about the whale watching industry and how it's linked to conservation. Usually, when we learn the biology of an animal, we know how big it is, but I didn't truly understand the dimensions of them until I have them right next to me. I always had a fascination for whales ever since I was a little girl due to their size. In this picture, you can see that this whale is around the same size of the boat or the pangas that they use for whale watching in Mexico. The peak season goes from December to April because they migrate from Alaska, where they feed, to the warmer, shallow waters of Baja California's coastal lagoons. These whales undertake one of the longest annual migration of any mammal, journaling over 6,000 miles. The Ojo de Liebre Lagoon in Guerrero Negro, it's a critical habitat for this whale and to reproduce and breed, making this location one of the best places on Earth for whale watching. Ojo de Liebre Lagoon is part of El Vizcaíno Biosphere Reserve, one of Mexico's largest natural protective areas. The whale sanctuary of El Vizcaíno contains the most important breeding grounds of the eastern subpopulation of the North Pacific gray whale. Its protection is linked with saving the species after near collapse due to excessive commercial whaling. Here you can see a mama whale with her calf. Like Helena said, these whales are very curious and they are very playful and they approach the pangas when you're there. The primary advantage of migrating to warmer regions during winter is to avoid the predation of killer whales. They prefer the lagoons because these protected areas are protective areas of warm water, and the fact that there are fewer sharks when whales are present. Many environmental factors such as depth, temperature, salinity, and nutrients coincide in Ojo de Liebre Lagoon, making them ideal for mating and breeding. For this project, I created a story map using ArcGIS to engage a wider audience about the magic happening in this place, or how locals call it, Mexico Mágico. My goal is to inform the public and tourists interested in traveling to Baja to experience this unique encounter and to highlight whale watching in Ojo de Liebre Lagoon as a means for conservation due to proper management. This website includes general information about whales, like its biology, its ecology, a little bit of history from whale watching to from commercial whaling to whale watching, and the history of the recovery and sustainable tourism. The specific goals for Ojo de Liebre Lagoon, according to the management plan, are to preserve the ecosystem as a safe haven for gray whales, ensuring the habitat is suitable for their breeding and raising calves. This plan also aims to provide a space for scientific research and study the gray whales' breeding and rearing environment. In this interactive map, people can see the different behaviors of the whales that can be appreciated during the whale watching tours in Mexico. For example, like breaching, that this behavior can be to remove parasites or as a form of play. The other one is lobtailing. That is a loud splash that can be heard hundreds of yards underwater, which is believed to be a form of nonverbal communication. And spy hopping, which is my favorite, which is a way for whales to see what is going on up in the surface so they can hear better. They rise and hold position out of the water, exposing their head. The town of Guerrero Negro was founded in 1954 by an American billionaire and businessman who discovered that the atmospheric conditions of this place were perfect for an open-air salt production plant. He needed the sodium hydroxide from the salt to produce paper, and the Mexican government agreed with him to extract the salt from this place only if he would build a town from scratch and hire Mexican citizens as workers, which they still honor nowadays. This past January of 2024, the Mexican government was able to pay out the salt production plant. So now this mine is the biggest one in the world and 100% Mexican. In addition to the salt mine, whale watching industry, these two are the main economical incomes, and you actually have to go through the salt mine to get to the lagoon. The establishment of the marine protected area in the 70s helped provide the context for the formation of local laws and enforcement to control boat traffic, fishing nets, and fishing gear and nets used in the lagoon, as well as pollution from local settlements and industrial degradation of surrounding areas. The MPA also closed some sensitive gray whale habitat entirely to tourism, providing zone protection, which is believed to be a good way to manage whale watching. Guerrero Negro is a small town where you can find amazing fish tacos and fresh ceviche. And yeah, I was smiling so hard that my cheeks were hurting, honestly. And I was lucky enough to meet and discuss the whale watching industry with local business owners, as well as fishermen, boat captains, and the ecotourism people. As you can see, yeah, I was smiling so hard. For the Ojo de Libre Lagoon complex, tourism is one of the main economic resources. Therefore, management plans aims to promote recreational activities under a low-impact, organized, and planned schemes. The sanctuary has also established sustainable management practices, including community participation, good tourism practices, regulatory support, carrying capacity limits, and ban on fishing nets in lagoon. These 4 people that you see in the pictures are fishermen, but they do work as tourism guides from December to April, because of different reasons they can't rely on fishing for the whole year, so they have to do this. So Edgar, the guy in the middle, said that el turismo le da vida a todo un pueblo, which means tourism gives life to a whole town, and this is a good example of that. On the other side, climate change is still a threat for the gray whales. Changes in prey distribution have altered foraging areas as benthic productivity declines in the northern Bering Sea due to the reduction of sea ice because of warmer temperatures. Additionally, El Niño and La Niña events have influenced whale distribution and movement, causing variation in migration patterns. Locals involved in ecotourism agree that the whales are arriving weeks later than usual due to warmer temperatures. Gray whales respond noticeably to ecosystem changes and can serve as indicators of ecological shifts over vast distances and timescales. The whale watching industry has the potential to encourage and support the conservation of these mammals while benefiting the economy of the communities it serves. When whale watching follows science-based guidelines, it can create a win-win for conservation and local populations that benefit from increased economic activity. The risks posed by irresponsible whale watching can be mitigated with education and adherence to these guidelines that encourage preservation. The unforgettable experience of whale watching underscores the importance of preserving the oceans and their inhabitants, and by supporting conservation efforts, we ensure that future generations can also stand in awe of these majestic creatures, feeling the same profound connection to the natural world. I would like to thank my Capstone Advisory Committee for the support, the MAS MBC staff, my friends from the 2024 cohort, and my friends and family for their support. Here's the QR code for my story map, and muchas gracias. I'll take some questions.
Is there anyone working in the lagoons to take photographic identification of these whales? Because it seems like there's a lot of people collecting wonderful video of them.
Yes, but you have to be a scientist and have like permits to go underwater and dive, because you can't be swimming with them, unfortunately. Oh, from the surface, yeah. So all the pictures I took them with my iPhone, to be honest, and they come so close to the boats that you are able to take amazing pictures. Yeah. Thank you.
I've got a question. Sol, were there any challenges that you faced doing this project, maybe that you didn't expect or something that surprised you?
Yes, it was really hard to collect data or to get the data to make my maps for my story map. Especially, like for me, it was very important to work with a Latinx community because we speak the same language and to kind of like decolonize science. And I feel like it was easier for me because I speak Spanish, but at the same time, a lot of them don't trust when you come from another country. And it was really hard to get the data. I actually got the data from people from Canada, not from Mexico. So yeah, I would say that was one of the challenges.
Yeah, I've got another question. Obviously, your project brings up this sort of balance between tourism and conservation. And I would just be curious to know, what did you learn about how to find that right balance between tourism and conservation? And, can they sort of peacefully coexist, or do we tend to love places to death and make them worse off than we found them?
I think that the key to balancing an economic activity and at the same time preserving the ecosystem or the species, it's about community engagement and good community involvement. And when I went to Mexico, I felt like they were all pro ecotourism and taking care of the whales, and because it's also like their main income. So if they don't do it, they can't pay the bills. So I think it's just balancing those. Also, including people in the economic activity in difference from the Western subpopulation in Japan and Russia, there's only less than 200 individuals. And this subpopulation, they're almost in the 20,000 individuals. So that's because people are taking care of them, not whaling. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.